Well, Agency Enlightened is here, ladies and gents. I hope you enjoy this module as much as I enjoyed making it for you and delivering it to you today for free. Oh my God, for free from my heart and from the heart of all of humanity. Enjoy and know that I am no longer in business. I've sold pretty much all my equity in Better AMS. I'm now an inactive partner who holds a minor stake, and that is official, signed on the dot. Wow, 7 or 8 years of running and that thing and starting it, and I am out, ladies and gents. It feels fantastic, and I pray that all of you who are going on this journey are served well by the content in Agency Enlightened, and that it helps you reach a point where you have financial freedom and that you can live in the middle of the jungle and hold this tripod thingy with a straw hat and talk about whatever you want to talk about, okay? So enjoy this module, and know also that there's a link in the description for accessing the resources and the action items that you need to, complete whatever the module is. It's all there, it's all free. And know that if you want to support the nonprofit that I'm starting called Satori, you can go in the link in the description and you'll be able to opt in to be notified when the Satori podcast goes live, which is going to be probably in a matter of 2 or 3 months or something like this. Real quick, before the module begins, you can just fast forward and skip this intro because it's going to be on the every single module intro if you don't want to know this. But Satori is a nonprofit dedicated or devoted to helping mankind realize the self by sharing God's word. So that's what I want to do, and that seems to be where all my energy is going these days. If that sounds interesting to you, you can go and check it out and drop your little email in the landing page thing, okay? Thank Jesus, Krishna, Buddha, Mary, and Mother Teresa, and all the great sages and avatars that walked on this earth. May it be so that all of what is spoken out of Satori is heard and understood by all of mankind, and that it is felt as the gift that it is from my heart, okay? Mwah! I love you all very much.
All right, ladies and gents, welcome to the Outbound system. My name is Taylor Bentur, and I'm going to guide you through today's module. Without further ado, here's what we're going to cover: outbound versus inbound, mental models, system components, Trojan horse marketing, KPIs, and bottlenecks. Pumped to go through this module. So let's talk about outbound versus inbound. First of all, outbound marketing is the act of initiating the relationship building process with somebody that you've pre-qualified. The end goal being to turn that person into a paying customer or a strong partner / referral. But again, it's the act of initiating the relationship building process. With inbound marketing, it's really just about producing enough quality content consistently enough to get a lead to initiate the conversation with you. That's really the inverse of what outbound is, because outbound is just going directly at that person who is the ideal person that you would want to work with, whether it be a partner or a client. Now, we take a hybrid approach. We utilize the core components from outbound, such as like hunting down your ideal fish, whether that be a partner or a client. You know, we have things like the Dream 100 database. We have things like Alfred and sourcing, training and tools, etc. All of those things are really important, and it feeds into inbound, as well as the components from inbound feed into the whole outbound system as well. So the components of inbound are that we use content to maximize the reach and likelihood of getting discovery calls from people that we have connected with from our outbound efforts. So it really just feeds into each other. A lot of people talk about inbound and outbound, which one is better. In my opinion, you should have some form of hybrid approach. So let's talk about mental models. Fire bullets, then cannonballs. This is just one of the greatest marketing mental models that you can add into your toolkit of all times. Always be testing. Once something works, you should concentrate resources and fire a cannonball, okay? Essentially just what that means is like you should fire bullets, which are like little micro tests that are inexpensive and easy for you to test and run. And once a bullet really hits and you see success with it, concentrate your resources on it and go all in and fire a cannonball, really like 10, 20x it. Another good mental model is that this more so ties into This is a general marketing mental model as well. Dig your well before you're thirsty. Never stop prospecting is really the translation of that mental model. Because if you badly need a client, your agency will suffer tremendously. I mean, if you badly need a client, then you're likely going to take somebody who's non-ideal. If you take somebody who's non-ideal, you're likely going to have to hand that client over to an account executive who's not going to be that happy because he or she is working with somebody that's not ideal. Or you yourself will do it and you'll be less happy because you're working with somebody who's not ideal, and they're likely going to churn, and that's just going to leave a negative impression on your brand, and it's not going to help you at all. So always avoid getting thirsty. And the way to do that is never stop prospecting. Lead with value, then build a relationship. This is pretty specific to Outbound, just relationship building in general, though. You should never try to build a relationship and then provide value. In my opinion, this usually just comes off as a turnoff. And if anybody tries to do that, especially with me, and think about it with yourself, it's just like, I don't have time to just have some surface level relationship with you. Like, if you can provide value to my company, tell me now, because that's really the only thing that I'm going to respond to you with. And that is actually how you'll build a stronger relationship with me, is by showing me how I can grow my companies faster or easier, etc. So leading with value is really how you earn the right to a conversation. Leading with value tells the prospect why they should talk with you. The what and the how is irrelevant until they know the why. And the why is, again, the value. That's really the only thing that matters. You should never open by telling them what you do. This is irrelevant. Again, this is just sub bullets of the whole lead with value, then build a relationship. Too many people will reach out and say, hey, I do, WordPress design or SEO, and so if you need any help with services related to that, let me know. And yeah, that's a kind message, thanks. But at the end of the day, I'll never reach out to you because there's 10 trillion other people who've sent the exact same message. And it somewhat is annoying. So this stands true for partners and clients. It's not just related to clients. It's true for both. Very, very important mental models. Love all of them equally. They are all beautiful and should be utilized very, very much so in any form of relationship building or outbound system or marketing in general. Definitely worth adding to the mental model toolkit. So let's talk about system components, ladies and gents. We've actually already gone through a lot of the system components that make up an outbound system. We talked about your ICP. We did that actually earlier in, I think it was sector 1 of this program. You've already gone through inbound marketing module, which talks about setting up your database, the Dream 100 database. You'd also, in that module, talked about sourcing and how to train and hire a virtual assistant to help you with sourcing ideal leads. Okay, 75% of the outbound system is we've already discussed it and covered it. But we're missing this one piece, which is the campaign. The campaign is the part of the system that contains the actual message delivery process. Okay, what does that mean? It's just the message, right? So crafting a message that will spark enough interest in the recipient of the message to engage and desire to speak with you on the phone. That's ideal, right? So other components of the campaign are the communication medium. So how are you going to actually, reach out to this lead that you're going to talk with? Is it going to be through physical mail, social media, phone call, email, text, networking events, ads, billboards? There's so many different mediums in which you can actually talk with somebody. And this is an important part of creating a campaign, is selecting the medium. The sequence, every campaign should have some kind of value chain sequence. It shouldn't just be one message. You shouldn't just send one message to a lead and then if they don't respond, never ever contact them again. That would be a terrible mistake. Ideally, you want to continue sending them extremely valuable messages and until something piques their interest. Okay? Now, components of a successful campaign. These are further components. It leads with value. Again, let me just rewind here. A campaign is these three things. So the campaign itself is one of the higher level components of an outbound system, and the components of the campaign itself are the message, the communication medium, and the sequence. These are other very important components. It leads with value, right? So Never lead by trying to befriend somebody. Nobody has time for that. Just lead with value. That's what they care about most. And your end goal is really to have them be a paying client or partner that refers to you anyways. So that you leading with value is the utmost important thing you can do to prove your worth and develop the relationship the way you want it to go. It's concise, okay? The message that you send is not overwritten, lacking brevity, or poorly structured. It's personalized. It's not clearly automated. It's respectful. It's not blasting follow-ups or using aggression and force. It's unique. It's not, do you need SEO services? That's what I offer. And it's a value chain, so there's a sequence to it. It's not just you sending one valuable message and then never contacting that lead again, okay? Now let's talk a little bit more in depth about initiating the conversation, crafting that message, putting the pen to the paper. If it's your first time reaching out, this is a general formula you can use that'll help you. Don't be limited by this. Okay, this is just a very general formula that works quite well. I see a lot of poor, and I see and receive a lot of poor messages designed to try to get my attention and ideally buy somebody's services. So step 1 is brief context. So why are you reaching out to them? Step 2, lead with a genuine insight. Step 3, state the opportunity for them, or you can state some negative second-order consequences of inaction if they don't talk to you or don't pay attention to what you're saying. This is less preferable unless it's very well written. Like if you have a lot of experience copywriting and you know how to write this in a positive way so that someone wouldn't get offended, that's fine. You can go and state negative secondary consequences, but stating the opportunity, I would stick with that if you don't have a lot of experience. Number 4, explain why it's important. Number 5, explain the typical outcome your service can help them achieve. Don't mention your service ever, not unless they ask you. And number 6, ask for their time. So you can use any form of variation of a CTA, call to action. Here's what this looks like. I just wrote this out on the fly. Hi, John. I noticed your brand Everlast on Amazon, and I saw you guys aren't using sponsored brand video ads. Based on what we've seen with other brands on Amazon, this ad type, when used properly, can typically increase your sales by 10 to 20%. I would love to hop on a call, go over other ad strategies that could help Everlast grow faster on Amazon. I'll drop my calendar below. That is that formula put into a message that would resonate with our market, with a lead that is in our market. And I'm sure we could blast this message out to a lot of people on our list and get decent responses, but we'd first have to verify that they're not actually using this specific ad type. Okay. Keep in mind, this is probably the most basic message, right? I wrote this in like 2 minutes, but it's good enough to use, and I would consider testing it. But we actually have tested something like this in the past. So just to recap this, it leads with value. It is concise. It's personalized. It's respectful. It's unique. Now, not everybody understands Amazon advertising, but for those of you who do, let me see how I can word this. Sponsor brands video ads is just a specific ad type in Amazon, and say, having a message that just says, "Hey, I saw you're not running this ad type," may not sound unique to you as the service provider because that's what you do. You're very well knowledgeable on this subject matter. But if you notice that there's a prospect, a lead, that is not doing something that could easily increase their sales or help them grow their business or be better, etc., that's easy for you, but it's not easy for them. They may not understand it as easily as you do. And so it's unique to them if you're reaching out and saying this, right? Because they're not doing it. So it's something they're not doing, which means it's unique. So sometimes I think some people get confused about, my message being unique. And a lot of people think like, oh, I want to make sure it's like nobody else's messages. Well, that doesn't matter. What matters is that it's unique to the prospect. You shouldn't really try to compare your outbound message to the outbound messages of your competitors. It should, when it comes to uniqueness, really it just means that it's something that is new to them, to the lead that you're reaching out with, that you're having a conversation with. Okay. Only thing that we're missing in this is really the value chain. We don't have other messages built yet. So the one important point I want to add here is that the greater your forecasted results / the better your offer is. For example, if I told them, this could increase your sales by 100 to 200%, I'll likely get a higher response rate. But I do believe that there is a point where it's just so unrealistic and unbelievable. Like if you truly could do something as insane and amazing as that, like, your service on average doubles or triples somebody's business. Let's just say you run an advertising agency like we do, and you can do and achieve those kinds of results on average. I mean, that's insane. definitely throw it in your copy 100%. But I don't know. Maybe it's so good that people don't believe it. But hey, I would still use it. All right, so I want to talk about campaign ideas brain dump, because this is really simple. I mean, we can fire this off in a Meet Alfred, LinkedIn automated message campaign and make it look pretty customized and to the specific individual, the recipient. But there's so much more that you can do with Outbound. Here's just a list of ideas. You could send a series of wax sealed letters, those like old styled letters where the paper's kind of yellowy and faded. It's not just like a regular blank white piece of paper. You can buy gorgeous letters, red wax seal, you can stamp it. You can send a book. You could send a signed piece of memorabilia that's relevant to the individual. You could send a video, like Trojan Horse Marketing is a custom video. In the Trojan Horse Marketing video, which you'll see eventually, there's confetti that goes off in the first 1 second, and it shows their profile picture on LinkedIn. So it's highly customized. You can send a bottle of wine, you can send a LinkedIn message, you can send an email with a custom created gift specifically for that person and their brand. There's so much you can do to just customize your messages, and so many different ways in which you can connect with a lead. Okay, it is not just limited to LinkedIn messaging or social media messaging. No, you can do so much more. As a matter of fact, you should do whatever is likely to resonate most with your leads. So if you're marketing to doctors or some type of company or class of people where they're just from an older generation and maybe they don't really use LinkedIn or social media or even email for that matter that much, but they do receive and always check their mail, well, you should probably send sealed letters, wax sealed letters, because that'll probably give you the highest response rate, etc. So again, there's so many different ways in which you can contact people. Don't limit yourself to just basic forms. All right. Now, campaign sequences is also just, I've talked about this here briefly. What that is and what that means is, again, it's just your campaign, going back to the components of what a campaign is. It's a message, it's a communication medium that you select, and it's a sequence. So a sequence just means that, there's not just one message to it. So X action, let's say X action is you send a message to this specific person, you send a letter, okay? Then you wait 3 days. Then you send a second letter with a different message. Then you wait 3 days and you send a third letter with a different message, etc. So this is what we talk about when we talk about building a sequence. It's not just you send one letter and then that's it. You never contact that person again if they don't respond. That's a terrible mistake, and you don't want to do that. You want to have some kind of value chain and a sequence built in place, because oftentimes some people will respond on the second or third time that you reach out to them. So good to always have a sequence in place. Now, crafting a campaign, if we're to summarize all the steps here, it would be to choose the communication medium that best aligns with your ICP, craft the most valuable and compelling initial outreach message possible, craft follow-up messages to build a value chain. Again, those follow-up messages are equally as valuable as your initial outreach message. Your value should not wear off. I wish I had a pen that I could write on the screen with right now, but if you can imagine just a graph, your first message shouldn't be 10 valuable and then it decreases in value with every message moving forward. It should ideally be, if not, the value should ideally increase as you send more messages, or stay the same. So don't devalue yourself as you continue to send more messages. Okay. So let's talk about Trojan Horse Marketing. This is just one winning outbound campaign example that I want to provide that our agency has used. An important mental model is that the territory is not the map. Yes, I'm providing this example. However, I'm not saying that you should go and utilize it in your market for the ICP that you're going after, because it may not be best. The best outbound campaign is contextual to the ICP that you are going after, okay? Now, another mental model is create, don't copy. So whatever I'm going to show you in Trojan Horse Marketing, you can go and copy it word for word, but it's not going to get you the best results. So I know that there's some people in agency Enlightened specifically that offer similar services to our agency, and so you may think, ooh, I could just copy this and I would get just as good as results. No, that's not true. You won't, and you should take a unique approach. And that's not true because we've contacted a lot of people with THM, a lot of leads, and there's quite a few other people that have as well, because THM was originally released publicly a couple years ago on YouTube. And so yeah, you want to come build your own campaign, because it's going to yield you far better results. All right, THM, Trojan Horse Marketing. It is a campaign where we send a custom, there's two types actually. One is we send a custom Trojan Horse video, which is just a video providing extreme value to the lead that we're reaching out to. And then we have an outsourced video. So typically once we find a winning custom video, so if we make a custom video, I'll follow a general script in the custom video that I'm making. If I find a winning video, then we'll outsource it and we'll automate it, basically. Not really automate, but outsource it to offshore to the Philippines, to our virtual assistants. And this is a video where you can remove yourself from the process and scale it much, to much greater levels, because you're not actually making videos. So you remove yourself from the process. And the way that the outsourced one works is, I was checking out your list. Basically what's going on, let me mute myself here, is this video in the bottom right is a pre-recorded video. And what's going on in the background is the virtual assistants in the Philippines will, prepare the tabs and get the mouse movements ready and align the mouse movements with what is being said in this video. And it looks and sounds and feels like I'm talking directly about this specific brand. But you'll notice if you watch the video, which there'll be links here later on in this module, if you watch this video, you'll notice there's no mention of their brand. There's no mention of anybody specific. It is just like, hello there. And it's all just kind of general and vague. But it really sounds like I'm talking to them because of the fact that we're focused on their product and we're moving the mouse, etc. One mistake that you'll know with this video, and this specific one I don't think we sent out, fortunately, is the fact that my hands are kind of waving in the air and whatnot, and the mouse is moving while my hands are in the air. So you kind of want to avoid that when you're doing this, so that people aren't like, okay, your mouse just moved and your hands are in the air. That's a bit weird, right? You gotta kind of avoid that. Hide your hands. But really, that's what Trojan Horse Marketing is. It's just a really valuable video that points out some opportunities for the lead to grow their brand faster on Amazon. Again, this is custom to our market and our offer, etc. But this is an example of one campaign, one simple campaign. This is how we would reach out to people. So it'd be like, Chase, love your brand. I think your new Amazon's new DSP for targeting ads can help you grow an extra 6-7 figures per year. Again, we can make that promise, and I can say that because that is true to the average results that we would see with this specific platform. Okay, and in this case, both of these leads book calls. I mean, this campaign was highly successful. The custom one was extremely successful. I think we had like a 9 or 10% call booking rate, but we caught the market at a good time when DSP, and it still is relatively new, and not a whole lot of agencies provide the service, and it's difficult for people to get access to. So at 9-10% call booking rates, very, very, very rare, and don't expect it. But this specific campaign has done very well. Sorry about that. So this is the initial outreach message that we would use, and we did have a contact sequence in place. So if they didn't respond to that, we would typically send them an email as well and ask them or send them the video, and we would also have one simple follow-up. Did you get a chance to see the video? Now, as I talked about earlier, I don't like follow-up messages that are like, hey, did you see the thing that I sent you? But in this case, this video is so valuable. It's so custom. I don't mind, if they haven't responded saying, hey, did you get a chance to see that video I sent you a couple days ago? Because it is really important. But I won't go and repeat that multiple times. I'm only going to send that type of message once. So three-part sequence that we utilize for this. This document doesn't actually include the intervals, but I think it was like 48 hours between step 1, step 2, and then another 48 hours between 2 and 3. Pretty straightforward. All right, let's talk about KPIs and bottlenecks. So leads contacted. whatever campaign you build, you want to ensure that you're able to contact at least greater than 10 leads per day, ideally 20. This way you can achieve 100 leads contacted per week, which would result in you being able to test new campaigns very quickly and find winners quickly. Again, you want to fire bullets and then cannonballs. If you can fire bullets quickly, I mean, it's such a legendary skill. The ability to build an outbound system that runs at a throughput to which you can verify the success of a campaign in 7 days is unbelievable. It's really good. It's really good. So the ability to contact 20 leads per day is a very strong leads contacted throughput of any outbound system, in my opinion, especially if you're following the principles that we talked about earlier, where it's custom, it's respectful, it's extremely valuable, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Okay. Call booking, or sorry, actually one further point on this, unless you're running a very unique campaign designed specifically for a micro group of, let's say, 10 or 20 really good partners, there's usually not hundreds of ideal partners in your market or your industry. Typically there's maybe less than 50, maybe less than 100 at most. And so if you're running, a campaign designed specifically for 20 people, that's fine. I mean, you don't need to worry about getting 10 contacts, 10 leads contacted per day. But for bigger audiences, for your ideal clients, which you likely have much larger pool sizes of, you should strive to 10 to 20 a day, unless you're like extremely enterprise and there's only like 200 ideal clients that are possible for you to work with. Then in that case, you can worry less about reaching 10 to 20 a day. Okay. Call booking rate, discovery calls booked divided by total leads completing a sequence. That's pretty good KPI in my opinion to measure. Again, it's not always the most important KPI, but discovery calls booked is the most bottom of funnel and legendary outcome that you could get from any given campaign, because it is someone who is literally booking a call to talk with you about your services or whatever it is that you provide, or get more value from you. It's the ultimate way to further develop the relationship, is to talk with somebody on the phone. Target CBR, this is target call booking rate. Less than 1%, in my opinion, is a losing campaign, unless there's really only certain scenarios where less than 1% would be a winning campaign. And let me clarify. If your goal of a campaign is call booking rate, is calls booked, then less than 1% is a losing campaign. If the goal of your campaign is engagement, well then less than 1%, any calls booked is a win, is a win for you. But like if the goal of your campaign is just engagement, I mean, calls booked is irrelevant. That doesn't matter. Engagement is what matters then. And I don't really have a general KPI I can give you for what good engagement is. But with Trojan marketing, our KPI has always been calls booked. And so from what we've seen, less than 1% is typically a losing campaign. 1 to 2% is average, and greater than 2% is a winning campaign. It's like 2.5, 3% call booking rate is pretty solid, because if you can send out 100 leads, contact 100 leads in a week, that means you're looking at 2 to 3 discovery calls a week, which is really good. I mean, now we're talking about 8 to potentially 8 to like 12 a month, which is solid. Okay. And 100 minimum. So again, before judging the performance of any campaign, you should have at least 100 leads complete the given sequence of the campaign, specific to campaigns that have large pool sizes of, people that can be run through them. Right. Like I said earlier, if you're running a really micro campaign designed for like 10, 20 people, that's irrelevant. Show up rate, you should shoot for greater than 70%, in my opinion. So ideally, your leads are showing up greater than 70% of the time. And your bottlenecks, okay? So really the most probably likely bottleneck you're going to run into is sourcing, getting more qualified leads into your Dream 100 database. This is the most common one I've seen, and it's solved by either increasing the throughput of your sourcing methods or hiring another sourcer, a VA, right? Deliverability is another bottleneck. We've moved away from email personally in our company for the campaigns that we run, but deliverability, emails going to spam, your email getting blacklisted, all these things, it happens, it's real. if you have issues with it, post in the group, ask for help. It's not my expertise. It's not my forte. I haven't done it in a while. But there are several people in the group who are running, outbound systems at, full scale and have dealt with these things before and have solved them. So hopefully they can give you some insight and some help. All right, here's your action items. Campaign creation. Create your first outbound campaign. There's a document in the resource section that you'll see in the portal, the training program, and download that document, open it up. This is what it's going to look like, and attached to it is a video. I recommend you open up in Google Docs. Google Docs is just way better looking than PDF. So open it up in Google Docs, watch this video to get started. It's going to guide you through the whole process of basically, the actions that you need to take to be able to get an outbound campaign up and running. And Trojan horse marketing is referenced here, so you can see an example of a winning campaign that we've run in Better AMS. The custom video is there's an example there, and the automated video. I just put that there as an example. Again, there isn't a section in Agency Enlightened that goes super deep on running Trojan horse marketing, and that's because really we want to focus on the most important fundamental, mental models and things and core components that you need to understand to build your own. So that you can build your own and come up with your own form of Trojan horse marketing, your own form that's twice as successful, etc. Okay, one thing we did not touch on in this worksheet and in the slides really is using Meet Alfred's sequencing abilities. So if you do happen to have an audience that you're going to go after, an ICP that uses, sorry, that's my phone, that uses LinkedIn or uses email, and you can leverage the automations that come with the Alfred tool, amazing. That tool is very self-explanatory on how to set up campaigns. It's really easy, and I didn't talk about it because it's just very easy to set up custom campaigns, and it has lots of different options with email and LinkedIn and I think Twitter as well and other things. So there's so many different ways, and you can even hook it up to Zapier. So it's a dream for anybody who wants to build a legendary sequence if you're somebody whose leads will be on LinkedIn, etc. Okay, so if you do have questions about it, though, you can always ask in the group. But that, ladies and gents, without further ado, is it. Let's get to work. Please let me know if you have questions. Post in the group. Come on one of the coaching calls. I'm stoked. This was an epic module. All right, I'll see you guys in the next one. Ciao.